Welcome to another edition of our Panther Podcast Weekly. This is Todd Bell. We hope that you've been enjoying what we've been putting out the past couple of weeks. And a reminder that you can always find past episodes of our Panthers Podcast Weekly by going to our YouTube page and search Ohio Dominican Athletics. And you can also find us on Twitter and Facebook at ODU Athletics. And then you'll get the information about the release of our next episode. This week, we're going to take a dive into our Ohio Dominican volleyball department. And Amy Bambenek is our first-year head coach at Ohio Dominican. And we welcome her to this week's program. Coach, thanks for being with us and taking the time. It has been an interesting introductory to Ohio Dominican for you. Just about the time you were about to get your feet wet, we all left campus.
Exactly. And first of all, thank you so much for having me. And I'm excited to be at ODU and part of this volleyball program. And you're right. It's been, it's not what I intended, or could even imagine would happen in my first 2 months of being on the job. But luckily, I was able to work with my team for about 4 to 5 weeks. Before they left for spring break. And then everyone knows what happened after that in mid-March with the pandemic. But I've certainly enjoyed my time so far at ODU.
Coach, let's take an opportunity to get to meet you a little bit. 22 years of coaching experience, all at the Division I level. Yeah. Most recently, you were the head coach at UNC Wilmington. You also spent time as an associate head coach at George Washington down in D.C. You also began your career as an assistant at Florida State. Yeah. Kind of walk us through your 3 stops of your coaching career.
Yeah, I really couldn't have been more thankful for how my career started. When I was a business management major in college, had no idea I wanted to get into coaching. Even going into my senior year of college, that really wasn't the career path that I saw myself taking. And I had a business advisor talk to me about going on to get my master's right away. And, things like marketing and maybe human resources and accounting in the business world, that just didn't, unfortunately, excite me at the time. And he had mentioned sport management as a master's program path. And at that time, there really weren't a lot of master's programs in that area in the late 90s. And I was lucky enough to be offered the second assistant position at Florida State. And they had a master's program, in that area. And even then, when I accepted that position at Florida State and did my master's in 2 years, I still wasn't really sure if coaching was what I wanted to do, if I wanted to maybe get into compliance or administration. But I really fell in love with the players and just the team camaraderie. I just wasn't willing to give up, that unique aspect of being a college athlete yet. So I really enjoyed my time there. And Dr. Cecile Reynaud was the head coach at the time at FSU. She had been there for over 25 years, and I felt so grateful that I got to learn from the best. She's still a very big part of USA Volleyball and the AVCA volleyball as well. So she's someone I really attribute to the kind of kickstarting my career. And after spending 3 seasons at FSU, it was time for me to move on from a second assistant position and get my feet wet more in terms of the recruiting aspect of things. And again, I really feel lucky that I was able to be at George Washington University for 8 years. I loved DC. I really didn't view myself as a city girl. I grew up in Chillicothe, Ohio, and anyone that lives in Ohio probably knows, it's a lot of cornfields. It's a lot of farm towns. But I feel so grateful to be able to spend 8 years in Washington, D.C. And then, then it was time to, get my feet wet in the head coaching realm, and UNCW came knocking, and I couldn't pass up an opportunity to live 5 miles from the beach for my first head coaching gig. So that's kind of my path in a whirlwind. And yeah, when you say 22 years, it certainly doesn't feel like I've been coaching that long.
Yeah, time can obviously fly by very quickly. Yeah. And so I'm assuming, as we look at your playing career as well, you had mentioned Coastal Carolina is where you played collegiately. By the time you left there, you were top 10 all-time in kills, so a successful career as well at Coastal Carolina. What led you to play for the Chanticleers?
Living in Chillicothe, Ohio, and during the time that I was recruited was the early 90s. There was no internet. There were no cell phones. So everything was through what we consider snail mail these days. And I literally got a letter that said Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. And that was a different location from all the other places I was communicating with. And I just thought getting out of Ohio was probably the right move for me. I lived here for most of my life. And I was excited for that opportunity to live somewhere a little bit different. And I really enjoyed my time at Coastal Carolina. I still keep in touch with all of my teammates there, which is great. And that's all, that's what a lot of this is about, is building those relationships. And you do, wholeheartedly keep all those relationships for your entire lifetime when you're a student athlete.
Coach, prior to now being the head coach at Ohio Dominican, there was some geography consistency there, and you mentioned it, a beach. You weren't very far from water at any of those stops.
That's
we have no beaches in Columbus, right?
Well, okay, thank goodness. My parents do have a lake house in Waverly, Ohio, another small town.
Yep.
So although I'm not near an ocean, I'm so grateful to be closer to my family. I have 2 sisters that live in Columbus. I have a niece and 4 nephews that I love tremendously. So I am happy anytime I get to spend with them.
And ultimately, that's what led you to the interest in this position and ultimately accepting it, right?
Absolutely. I definitely consider myself an Ohio girl, and living in Wilmington, you kind of felt like you're on vacation full time. But I would actually take all of my vacations to Ohio. So, I didn't go from Wilmington. I didn't go vacation, I don't know, down in the Florida Keys. I would vacation in Chillicothe, Ohio, in Columbus, Ohio, and Waverly, Ohio, where my family is. So I really didn't feel too far removed from being an Ohioan. Even though I hadn't lived here for 22 years, I'm really happy to be back.
At the very least, you brought us a very mild winter this past winter as well. I mean, thank heavens. And it's been a warm spring. So maybe you helped us in that department.
I was so scared. I think my first day at ODU, it was weirdly, it was like 75 degrees outside. But that only lasted one day. And
sure.
I think it snowed, and it was like an ice storm the very next day. So yeah, first day was great. And I'm very nervous still driving in snow. That's not my forte. But I'm going to have to get acclimated a little bit more to the cold weather.
Yeah. One thing we can do here in Ohio, we can cover some seasons over the course of a day or so. There's no question about that. Let's talk about coming out to the university, getting to meet your team.
Sure.
As you said, you were just kind of getting started when all this hit. What were you able to accomplish, though, in the short time that you were able to be around your club?
I really think just, trying to get to know them a little bit more on a personal level. We really just touched the basics of what we want out of our team defense and our team offense. I was throwing new information at them every single day, and a lot of it was probably pretty overwhelming to them. So I feel like when they left for spring break, they were still maybe in that overwhelming phase of just trying to learn. But that's something that's just part of, I think, the pillars to our success, is that they have to be open-minded. And, we want them to be open to learning new things. And that's really just kind of a staple of what I wanted to get the girls to believe in, that learning new things is and maybe changing some things, changing some old habits is a good thing.
What is your coaching style, if you could describe that? And, how will it change much now that you're at a Division II level as opposed to all those years at Division I?
I don't think so. And I feel like as a coach, you evolve every season, you evolve with every team and with the personality of your team. And one of my mottos that I got from that I kind of stole from Coach David Fisher. He was my associate head coach at UNCW for 4 seasons, and he helped me start the beach program there. Was coach the whole person, not just the player, or coach the whole person, not just the athlete. So I take a lot of pride into helping our girls with whatever they need off the court, and that almost seems to be just as rewarding as their accomplishments on the court. When I see, girls get their dream jobs and, just out of college, or they're, either they're becoming professionals, or, even moms and doctors and lawyers, and they get to, they're accomplishing all of their goals. That really gives me my fulfillment as a coach. Winning is a lot of fun, and I like to win, and I'm competitive. But that is for sure not the end all be all of the type of coach that I am. I definitely consider myself more of a teacher of the game and more of someone who's going to help you relate volleyball to real life lessons.
How are you? You mentioned you started the beach program at UNC Wilmington as well. So you were the head coach of not only the indoor, but the beach team.
Yeah.
So for yourself, are you going to be able to be around this group more because you don't have that beach obligation? Do you find that something that really could help jumpstart this program a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely excited about being with this group full time. And we actually had, I would say, about 75% of our indoor team also played beach at UNCW. So I did get to see them quite a bit as well. And I had fully anticipated trying to sprinkle in some beach practices this spring, because there's 2 courts right there on campus, pretty close to the weight room and our gym. And I would like to get those up and fully functioning to be able to spend a little bit of time out there next spring, hopefully, with our team, because I do believe in cross training to help the athletes. And also I think that it can certainly help their indoor game to play a little bit of beach. And maybe once or twice a week, or maybe we just finish our last week of spring with some sand training. And that's something that they could be able to, that they could carry over to the summertime to play in tournaments. There's usually quite a few beach tournaments offered in the summertime. So I'm not getting away from the beach completely. I fully still believe in it and love it just as much as indoor.
Coach, how are you able to communicate with your team now? Are you able to have these Zoom conference calls or whatever process you guys are able to use, and how challenging is it?
Yeah, well, there's some NCAA restrictions on some of what we can communicate with, or how we can communicate with them. So we've done a couple Zoom calls, but primarily it's through an app called GroupMe. That's amazing. And I send them daily workouts and Monday motivation information, and I'm in constant communication probably daily with them, just about reminders of things that they have to do with school and the upcoming season and whatnot. And a lot of them, still have a lot of questions about what's to come. So it's a lot of filtering some of those questions and putting their mind at ease that, there's not a lot that we're going to be able to control in some of the decision-making processes. All we can do right now is prepare as a team to be ready to go once our season starts. So those are some of the things I've communicated with them.
And speaking of things out of your control and season starting, nobody knows right now if there's going to be a fall season, if fall sports are going to be spring sports next year, or how it's all going to unfold. Obviously, that's a big question you would love to have answered, as everybody would at this point, when you're going to be able to get started.
Yeah, I've been hearing so many things that I don't want to put any conspiracy theories out there, and we just have to wait to see what the NCAA is going to do. I think they're voting next week on some legislation about potentially decreasing some of our or the amount of games that we play, so that there still would be a fall sports season, there still would be winter and spring sports, but there might be a decrease in the amount of competitions we play. So I think everyone's on board with, we want to play, even if it's at a minimum. We want to try to, obviously have our season this fall, and I'm still remaining optimistic that it's going to happen.
As Jeff Blair and I talked a couple of weeks ago, we always enjoy that first couple of weeks of the summer, but when we're ready for the kids to get back. Now the fact that got jump-started 2 months in advance, we're ready to see our student athletes again, aren't we?
Absolutely. I just had one of them reach out to me today, asking when they could get into the gym. And obviously the university is closed down right now. So athletes aren't allowed to use, the gym or the weight room, but I'm really excited that our team is eager to get back out there.
Well, you can follow the Ohio Dominican volleyball team on social media. It's at Ohio Dominican VB, and Coach Bambenek is at Coach Bambenek. And it's really been a pleasure to talk to you and get to know you. And I look forward to speaking with you more in person once we all get back on campus and see how your team progresses in the near future. Coach, thanks for the time. Stay safe, and hope to see you very soon.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, that is Coach Amy Bambenek. We will continue with our trip around the Ohio Dominican volleyball program. We'll speak with sophomore middle blocker Emilee Fecht. She was second-team All-GMAC performer last year. That'll be coming up next on our Panther Podcast Weekly as it continues.
Jumpstart your business career with an MBA from Ohio Dominican University.
I looked at several other programs. Obviously, the top of the list was quality of education. Ohio Dominican University fit that bill. Outside of that, it was convenience. Time was a big factor, trying to balance a job and a family. Ohio Dominican University made it possible.
Earn your MBA online or on campus in just 16 months. Now offering concentrations in data analytics and risk management. Apply now at ohiodominican.edu/MBA.
Our Panthers Podcast Weekly continues. This is Todd Bell. We are happy to continue on now, focusing on the Ohio Dominican volleyball program. And we are joined by now sophomore Emilee Fecht, who just a week or so ago finished up finals and now has progressed to be a sophomore. And Emilee was a second-team All-GMAC performer last year as just a freshman. Emilee, thanks so much for taking some time, and congratulations on getting through phase one of your college career from freshman to sophomore. Probably not the way you expected to do it, though, right?
Definitely not at all. Coming back from spring break, it was definitely not expected to not go back at all, but it's all right. I got through it. A lot of people, we were able to do it. And
obviously something new for everybody. How was the transition to go to online classes for you? I know some struggle, some love it. What was your thoughts on it?
For me, I was really happy about it at first because I was like, oh, nice, I can have more time. But once I started to get into it, I kind of struggled definitely because it's really hard when you don't have a set schedule to make yourself get up and do a set schedule. And at first I didn't do that at all. But once I got a set schedule, it made it way easier. So the ending was way better. Finals were good. I finished well. So that's,
pretty consistent, I think, with everybody. We were all trying to figure out how to operate and to get up and take a shower and get out of your pajamas was a good first step. And I know sometimes as students, you'll go to classes in your pajamas sometimes, right?
Yeah. Wake up 5 minutes before class, brush your teeth, and head out.
And that's the beauty of having a small campus. You can fall out of bed and be in class. That's right.
Yeah, I love it.
So other than your classwork, and certainly now that you don't have that on your mind, what are you doing to occupy your time at home since we've kind of all been quarantined now for a couple of months?
So right now I actually am staying at my sister's in Cleveland. She lives up in Berea area. So we're getting up. We try to get up around 10 every day. We do a fellowship, we work out, shower, whatever, eat, and then you kind of just hang out with the dogs and do stuff throughout the day. We try to go to the metro parks around here too as well, but that's pretty much about it. It's a pretty normal, easy day.
Yeah, well, hopefully it sounds like we're all going to be able to maybe start doing some little things here and there. So maybe that'll certainly help as well. Yeah. Tell me about your freshman year overall. You come from Hilliard, Ohio. You went to Davidson High School. What was your first taste of college volleyball after a successful high school career?
Well, so when we first got to preseason, just playing, it was a big shift for me. I played club, which is pretty much college level volleyball. But it was still even just a step up from club. And so getting into the action, getting into the practices and the groove and stuff was kind of hard at first, hard on your body, but you get through it. The season was really fun. We didn't have the best record, but I mean, as much as I want to win, I had fun with the girls and all that. I made friendships and, and the rest of the year we were doing really good for spring season. And then obviously the coronavirus ruined it, but yeah, we were doing really good for that. But overall, I loved it. Freshman year was so fun.
Every time I talk to our student athletes, the winter and the spring sports athletes, they are not envious of the fall sports, because you're on campus before your classes start. You start these long training days, and then all of a sudden you've got to learn how to be a freshman in college.
Yeah, that was a big transition too as well.
Was there anybody you leaned on that really helped you, whether it was somebody on the team or somebody you'd met there at ODU?
On the team, I would definitely say Alexis helped a lot. She's, when it comes like academically and with volleyball, she's great to look up to. And she overall kind of helped me with like managing my time, because she was very good at that. She stacks her classes. She was a great student. So she really helped me with that, honestly.
What was the biggest challenge for you?
Mostly I would say time management, because as much as I did AP classes in high school and stuff like that, all the work and stuff like that came with it, along with missing classes. Like the first 3 weeks we missed Thursday, Friday every week. So I was missing 5 classes in 2 days for 3 weeks straight. So that was hard, but I was able to get through it.
Yeah, and I think the running joke, a lot of people think about Division I athletics, or specifically football, basketball. Those guys aren't going to classes. Not so fast at the Division II level, right?
No,
you guys the student part comes before athlete here, right?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So you did have a coaching change in the offseason. Amy Bambenek, who we just spoke to moments ago. What was your first impressions, as I'm sure she called the team together to have a first meeting face-to-face with everybody?
Well, first of all, before we even met her, we knew she was coming from a really good program, things like that. So we were like, oh, she means business. And when she did get there, she did. But she's even besides like in volleyball, she's all about business, which is, I think, fantastic for our team. But outside of volleyball, she's really nice. She's funny. Like we all get along with her really well. So I think she was a great option to have as a new coach. It was great to get her.
What were some of the things she maybe talked about that you went, we're as you said, she means business?
Well, let's think. So, obviously every team has the rules about drugs, alcohol, no tolerance drugs, things like that. That wasn't really the business part, but when we came to practice, like she wants drills to be done a specific way, like every coach does. But like we do this drill where you have to get a certain amount of touches in 16 minutes. And like she makes us restart if we mess up the drill. Like it's just like things like that really, she really works on the small stuff. And I think that's huge for our team.
Now, when we talked to her, now, of course, she coached beach volleyball at UNC Wilmington as well. And she said she was ready to start incorporating some sand stuff into your spring stuff before it ever happened.
Yeah.
What was your impressions of that?
Well, I have had like a sand volleyball background. So, I mean, I was dreading it because any running or workout in the sand is going to be awful. But I like sand volleyball. So I was kind of excited about that, which I know some of our teammates were dreading it, but
well, you figure it out sooner or later, right?
Oh yeah.
So what about workouts right now? Obviously you can't do anything as a team, and coach said she's been sending you guys, whether it's daily or every other day, some stuff to do. And as you had mentioned that a little bit earlier too, every day you're trying to do something from a fitness standpoint to get ready for volleyball. How's that gone?
Some of the things, we have a trainer that like does our workouts, and he's done a great job like doing at home things. So he there's one workout where we had a backpack and you would just fill it with books, do like raises, things like any workout at home. He's been doing really well with giving that to us. So it's kind of hard to motivate yourself definitely to get up, like we said, out of bed, get yourself going. But with the help of my sister and her 4 other roommates, we've been able to get ourselves out and do something outside. We try to do it outside when it's nice, but it's Ohio. So. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, the weather changes constantly. Yeah. It rains and it's sunny. Is there anybody on the team that's trying to hold everybody accountable right now?
Yeah, actually, our team is doing like a team accountability thing. So 2 of the upperclassmen or older people we paired with freshmen. So I have Cameron and Kelsey in my group. So what we do is we'll do like weekly FaceTime check-ins or texts just every day, making sure that we're like staying on top of our stuff, which I think has helped a lot, just kind of get everybody going. So.
And one thing that you guys have been doing that's been a little entertaining. I'm not sure I know what TikTok is. I have a 12-year-old son, and he's all about the TikTok. And I'm like, sure, okay, it looks great. But I have watched the videos of you guys were passing volleyballs one to the other, and then the latest trying to put a shirt on while you're setting a volleyball to yourself. Who's organizing all of this, and what's the most challenging for you?
Well, we've actually been going for every 2 weeks. We pick a new person to take over the social media page. So it's pretty much the people are making up those videos, just kind of when it's their week, they're kind of looking at other videos or trying to try to find cool things to do. I think the hardest was definitely putting the shirt on. There's lots of bloopers, everyone was like, it took me like 20 minutes. And I was like, yeah, it took, because it seems easy. Before I started doing it, I was like, I can get this in like 2 tries. I'll give myself 2 tries. That's fine. It took me way longer.
Is there going to be, we need an outtake reel, Emilee. Who's got all the outtakes? That's what we need.
We'll get that video out. Definitely. It'd be funny.
And we can
lots of people falling.
Yeah. Well, I don't remember who it was, but they were very dangerously close to a basketball hoop and about ready to take a header right into the post. And I got very, very concerned.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. Some of us are klutz. That would happen.
And you can look for these at Ohio Dominican VB on Twitter. How do we follow you guys on TikTok?
We actually don't have a TikTok. A lot of our teammates, that's a smart idea though. Thanks for the thanks for the idea. But we actually just we make the videos on TikTok and then just like save it and post it on Twitter or Instagram. But I could definitely start it.
I've given you a project for the rest of your day. Exactly. Absolutely. All right. Those were the easy questions, Emilee. I like to have a little fun with you guys and just kind of see what you're thinking and see how quickly you can think on your feet. You ready for these fast 5?
Okay. Yeah, sure.
All right. These will be easy for you. Obviously, we've all had a lot of time on our hands. What have you been binge watching right now? What have you found that you've really liked?
Actually a couple. I finished Blacklist, which is really good.
Okay.
I'm currently binge watching this prison show called Wentworth.
Okay.
It's like from Australia. And then New Girl, probably.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll write all those down.
Honestly, I recommend them.
I'm about done with the series I'm watching, so I'll figure out one of those and I'll start watching them with you.
You'll love it.
All right. Something maybe you've tried to learn or do differently during this time.
Funny story, actually.
Great. See, this is why I'm here.
I was trying to teach myself how to skateboard, and I was doing really well. And then I tried to get off of it and like twisted my ankle.
Oh boy.
I was fine. A couple days later, tweaked it a little bit, but I got back on it yesterday. I'm doing pretty good, but it's still kind of shaky.
All right, as long as you're not trying to put a shirt on or hit volleyballs while you're on the skateboard. Let's don't do that, okay?
Yeah, I'm not good for.
All right. Well, when you can get out of the house and go someplace, where would be the first place you'd like to travel to?
Oh, honestly, probably the mall because I keep looking at shoes because I'm online shopping so much. Probably I just want to go get a couple pairs of tennis shoes because I haven't been spending money. So.
Okay. Very good. All right. So new shoes for Emilee. All right. No worries. Instagram or Twitter?
Twitter.
And how can we follow you?
You can just follow me. It's Emilee, Emilee _Fecht, Fecht. You can follow me and get all the good tweets.
There you go. And it's a unique spelling. You said
yes, it is.
Emilee for Emilee. Yep. All right. So we'll look for that.
I have a very complicated name.
That's all right. No worries. All right. The outside of going to the mall and getting shoes, what's the one thing you're looking most forward to once we can kind of get back to the normal thing? What one thing maybe do you miss the most?
Honestly, just hang out with my friends. And volleyball, because my friends are at volleyball, but just being able to socialize because I have been doing pretty good with like social distancing. It's important to me and my family just because I don't want to bring it to my parents. So but yeah, so pretty much hang out with my friends, being able to socialize, get back to work. So
yeah, I think we're all looking forward to that day when we can do that as well.
Yeah,
well, and then the biggest question mark for everybody right now is if there's going to be fall sports, I imagine that's got to be weighing heavily on you and your friends and your teammates' minds is what's going to happen come August? Are we all going to be on campus, or are we going to be, kind of waiting, and maybe your season comes later in the year?
Yeah. There's rumor about us having our season in spring, which I'd be fine. I really just want a season because I think like this team, especially, we have new coaching. We have a bunch of good incoming freshmen, all the freshmen that played are learning. So I think our team can do really good this year. So I'm hoping we can have a season, get back on campus. I definitely think a lot of us are going to be set back, fall sports in general, just because we don't have that training that you had before. But
we'll keep our fingers crossed. And like you said, whether it's fall, winter, or spring, hopefully we'll just have a season. Hey, great job today. It was fun catching up with you. And again, we look forward to seeing you on the volleyball court sooner rather than later.
Thank you for having me.
All right. That'll be all for this week's Panthers Podcast Weekly. Remember, you can go to youtube.com, search Ohio Dominican Athletics, and you can catch previous episodes. And also don't forget to follow ODU Athletics on both Twitter and Facebook. Thanks for watching today. This is Todd Bell. Remember, it's always a great day to be a Panther.